All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Billy.
And I'm Amanda.
And we are
moving some goalposts. Show number 50.
For the 50th time, Atwell.
50th time.
That is quite the milestone for us, I'd say. 50 shows. Yeah. It's been fun. It's been a fun show to do. I think a lot of people are appreciating it more and more, like on both sides of the aisle, as they like to say, both sides of Highway 21, I guess. But no, it's been fun. 50 episodes in, who knew? I mean, that's impressive. Next milestone, I guess, will be 100, and we've been at it.
52. 52 is a full year.
Yeah, true. We've been at it basically a year. I think
I guess we did every other week to start off, and we will be going back to every other week just for the month of July.
Yep.
Because very, very dead season. I will be out of the country. You have stuff going on, so
we've got
I'm
SEC.
sure everybody who listens to podcasts will also have stuff going on. So
we've got
take a
SEC
little
media
break
days
for 2 weeks in July.
We got SEC media days. You've got travel. I'll probably mix a little August. I get really like the end of the off season. I'm like, damn, I didn't do enough. I just got back from Chicago, but it was literally like a couple night in and out, just concert, baseball, and concert, Cubs, concert, out of there. SEC media days. We'll see if I can have some fun in Tampa, around the work. But then I'm going to be like, okay, we need a mountain trip. We need a beach trip.
Yeah, I think I am having the opposite of not doing enough in the off season this year. I think I am cram packing everything I possibly can into off season, and going into season will also be crazy. But
I think I'm going to
balance it.
I think I'm going to go watch your Chiefs during August camp. Go up there for a night to KC and do that with a couple of buddies of mine. So yeah, we'll have some.
You got to try Travis and Pat's new restaurant. It was very, very good. 10 out of 10.
That is
great vibes.
That is definitely on the agenda. It's going to be like a 24-hour visit.
It has Dallas prices, not Kansas City prices, so be aware if you want to go visit. Might even be top tier, high level Dallas prices, which is a little aggressive, but it was packed. It was packed out. So.
I've definitely dated some girls at every restaurant they pick in Dallas. I was like, oh yeah, sure, let's go to that. And then it just magically every time they picked the like top tier Dallas. So I'm very aware.
$24 cocktails.
I'm very aware of the top tier Dallas prices in restaurants, and most of them are really good. I do think, I will say this though, you will never, ever convince me. And actually, a buddy of mine in Chicago was talking about, he's a huge foodie all over the country, and you'll never convince me. There are a lot of things that Dallas is better than my home city of Houston is. Food ain't one of them. Houston is an elite food city. Yeah, it really is.
I mean, I think Dallas is underrated as far as their food scene goes. I think people don't think Dallas has much to offer, but I mean, a lot of the New York and bigger national like restaurant groups come here as their like next stop. Like we went to a place last week, Little Ruby's. Their only other restaurants are in Manhattan, and they chose Dallas as their next opening spot. It was amazing. Also, if you're in Dallas, go to Little Ruby's. Price points much better. $22 for a chicken pasta. You can't find that anywhere in Dallas at a nice restaurant. So 10 out of 10 recommend. But anyways,
speaking
to
of
our show.
Speaking of recommend this show. Tell your friends. I think we've been generating some pretty funny and some pretty interesting conversation during the slow off season. We've had our moments, we've had our agreements, our disagreements, and we've had, I think, some really good content coming out. If you really listen, a lot of conversation even during the slow off season. But it's going to be such a fun, I think, promising, hopeful fall for both of our programs. So I think it's a great listen to recommend your friends. If you're listening, it means you like it, or you hate it so much that you keep listening. But either way, recommend your friends, push to subscribe, comment, like, subscribe, recommend, all of the above, especially the comments. I know Amanda and I say we want to start like kind of interacting more and more in those comments. So if you're listening, post your thoughts. We don't care if you agree, disagree. Just be cool about it. We'll have some good conversation in there, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, post your thoughts, post your questions.
Questions would be great.
Give us something to talk about in the off season.
Questions would be really good.
I don't want to do all the really stupid hypotheticals that a lot of shows manage to pull random things out of their butts for engagement. So don't want to go that far. But if you have any questions that you're dying to have answered or you think that would bring up a good conversation, feel free to leave them in the comments.
Let's start. Man, I'm just gonna say it, Amanda. The A&M Texas baseball rivalry. I know football is king in this state. It's king in Austin. It's king in College Station. Okay, we know that. You know that. I know that. Everyone listening knows that. This is not what I'm trying to say. But as far as the storylines and the just cross-pollination and the emotions and intensity of it, this Texas Longhorn, Texas A&M Aggie baseball rivalry is probably the best that these two schools have going right now. And it went to another level.
I'm going to disagree with you on that, and I have a couple of reasons
why. Give me your reasons.
My reasoning is that these teams have been playing throughout the dead period of Texas A&M no longer playing. So it's not like they hadn't seen each other in, 12 years.
True.
The football rivalry being renewed was just, there was so much more pent up years off, talk over the years, and then to have it rebirthed after that. And I mean, obviously, you said that football is king in Texas. And I mean, it may not be as fun for A&M fans right now, but I think if most A&M fans had to pick, they would rather lose a baseball series and win the football game. And I mean, and obviously winning the baseball series, it's fun. It's fun rivalry. It's fun back and forth. And yes, getting Schloss as a coach, winning with him in year one, going on the road and losing in year two, and now Nolan Cain going to A&M. All of that is good storyline.
Yeah.
But I think there's something romantic about two major in-state rivals not playing for 10 plus years and then coming back and meeting on the same field where they left off however many years ago. And I just think there's a little bit more, I don't know, I think there's more romance in the storyline there of just like how it's been over the last however many years of this rivalry. That's my take.
I see what you're saying, and it makes sense. I think here's where I'm going with it. My counter to that would be, here's my counter to that. Most of what you said I agreed with. And I do. I think it's more important. It's more meaningful. It's more significant to both of us and to people that don't have ties to A&M or Texas around the state and the country, obviously. But I will say this. Texas is 2-0 against A&M. And this past year, that loss to Texas didn't keep A&M from accomplishing their goals. The loss the year before, I guess that technically did keep A&M out of
the SEC championship game.
Yeah, but this year, like it mattered on a giant magnitude, but it didn't keep A&M out of the playoffs or from accomplishing their goals. That's actually what Miami did. So it just, to me.
But I mean, the Texas's loss to A&M didn't like keep them out of a super regional or out of a regional or anything. It didn't affect their postseason run. So you can use that same argument there.
That's true. That's true. Well, anyway, that's good. That's a good point. Football is king. That rivalry. I just mean just all the storylines, I guess. Don't you feel like there's more storylines to the baseball thing right now? You mentioned it, the slosh and leaving the day after the World Series and all that vitriol. And then, the sweep last year in Austin was like devastating to A&M. And that was one of the more intense series, that you've seen at the Dish in forever. And then what we saw at Bluebell Park this year for those two games, it was just insane. And then what happened this week is Early going and getting Slosh's, right-hand man, his ace recruiter, but also Early's really close friend, and pulling him back to College Station just adds another pretty incredible, like fascinating layer to this whole thing that happened this week. So I thought that was just another layer to this rivalry that just, I think, Amanda.
I think you think it's more fun. I don't think it's more fun. I'm always going to think football's more fun.
I do.
Yeah,
I do too.
there's intricacies to baseball that are different than football, but I just don't think the things that happen in baseball aren't quite as like detrimental. They're impactful, but they're not quite at, like, say, Texas losing the series at A&M.
Yeah.
That's not as potentially detrimental to their season as, say, A&M losing to Texas at home when they were hoping to make the SEC championship game.
True.
Football it's just a much thinner margin in football, which I think makes it a more fun rivalry. And that's just my opinion. I think the rivalries in baseball are fun. I can't put it above football for that reason. And I think it's a good storyline, but I think I'm going to lean towards football. And I mean, you can have your own opinions. That's my opinion.
I'm sure most people would agree with you on that. And look, I'm a football guy first and foremost. It's 90% of what we talk about on the show for a reason. It's the sport that I cover. I actually just kind of opine on baseball here. I don't cover it like I do football. You know, I go to the games, I come back and talk about them following the weekends. We've got a great team here that day-to-day covers the baseball. But I think probably what I'm saying more is just I like the storylines of this thing. So let's put it this way, because I think you're starting the show off strong. Good work. But I think let's put it this way then. Let's pivot to this. I think this rivalry is as intriguing and as intense right now as any in college baseball. That's something I would say. And I think that is, if you go back to the day that Texas A&M lost to Tennessee in the national championship game 2 years ago, I know it's not to the day, but it's essentially to the day, right? Two World Series ago. It ended last night. By the way, congratulations to Oklahoma. We'll talk about that real quickly in a second. But in the last 2 years, from that day until today, all the things we just mentioned, all the players being offered to go over to Texas, not going, the sweep last year, the sweep this year, the Nolan Cain, it has been, I think it's the best rivalry in college baseball right now. And I hope
I'm not
it stays
taking
that
away
way.
from that. I think it is, but that wasn't the question you asked.
I know.
You said the question was the most fun of the Aggie Horn battles.
I get it.
I think it is like probably the best. I don't know. We're both biased here. I think it's probably one of the best rivalries in college baseball.
That's what I just said.
Just based on everything involved. But I still would put football above it as my preference. You've changed versus Horns.
I agree with you. But I just think this has the most current storylines, and you're probably right. Part of that,
it's baseball season,
and part of that
baseball season just ended.
Part of that also probably has to do with the fact, like you said, A&M's 0-2 right now in the football. You know, as we get,
once A&M starts trading some wins in that category, I think everybody's going to look at it a little differently.
Yeah,
and it will happen. It's bound to happen. It's a rivalry game, and I would love for it to never happen. But I'm a realist.
As we get closer to November, Thanksgiving, I think there will be more storylines to that one than we can count, obviously. But a huge development this week with Mike Early going and getting Nolan Cain. Forget about emotion or anything. For a young coach, 2 years into his head coaching career, he made a great hire last year with Cliff Pennington. That paid off. He made, I think, a really strong hire with his pitching coach going to the MLB ranks. But to take Nolan Cain and get he and his family to come back to College Station and back to A&M. People that don't understand, Nolan and Mike Early were really the architects of that World Series team, both those World Series teams, but especially that second one that almost won it. For him to be able to pull this off is significant. It's not going to kill Jim Schlossnagle. I'm sure he was not at all happy with it. I do think it came out of left field because I was paying very close attention to everything that was being said and talked about and diffused on the Texas side. I do think it was kind of went in and pulled it off behind the scenes. But I also don't think it's Jim Schlossnagle's Rolodex is this long. He's going to go get he's going to go hire a high-profile, highly successful recruiting coordinator, and that's fine. Both teams can have one now. But I think for A&M, this is a tremendous hire. Nolan's as good as it comes. He understands the plays. He knows Mike Early. They're going to be extensions of each other, and I think it's going to be massive for A&M recruiting. And like I said,
I have a question on this before we finish. Do you think this will get some of the Mike Early haters that came back very rampant after the regional loss? Do you think this validates getting some of them off his back for a bit? I mean, making a hire like this?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I think back, if you go back to when we were talking about this, I said, just let's wait and see, because I knew that this was a possibility, but I also knew, I thought Mike Early was going to make some hires, including that one, particularly that one. I knew that was going to swing a lot of the people that got frustrated. And look, I think if you're too frustrated with how this season ended for A&M, I just think you're being unfair is such a weird word to use when coaches get paid so much and there's NIL, but it's just silly. It's so short-sighted and not really understanding the game to overlook that they had 4 key pitchers go down for the season, including their only ace with 3 weeks left in the season.
I mean, everyone was battered at the end of the season.
No, they weren't. Not to that extent in the pitching staff. And that pitching staff is what crippled A&M's chances. It basically, like, you look at Oklahoma and what they did on the pitching side to win it. If you don't pitch,
they had 3 freshman pitchers.
What Skip Johnson did was incredible. And look, both schools could have hired Skip Johnson. Actually talking to Bobby Burton today about something, and he brought up, Texas hired David Pierce instead of him. He's a great coach, man. There's no two ways around it. I mean, I remember A&M went to Omaha in 22, and he beat Slosh and A&M twice. Eliminated the Aggies, went to the final his first time to go at OU. So he's been to the finals and won it. I mean, what can you say? So I know me and you don't like crediting OU much, but we will when.
I'll give credit where it's due.
And it's due.
I think, am I frozen? No, I'm not frozen.
It's due. I mean, congratulations.
OU's a program where it's very annoying when they're successful, but as a Texas fan who has watched Texas and OU go back and forth over the years, OU has been very successful at times, and this is the kind of thing where you just have to give credit where it's due. And especially, I can be more okay with it because I do like this kind of storyline. They they finished 11th in the SEC,
14
and then
16.
1 and out in the SEC tournament. Go on to battle up through Kansas's regional, and then continue.
The Georgia Tech one was that was the regional. Georgia Tech was the number 2 overall seed, and OU, I think they tied it in the 9th inning. Or they were eliminated, and then they won it in extra. So they were like that close to not even getting out of a regional. Their national
and then
champ.
Just to get hot at just the exact right time and do what they did and beating Georgia, you deserve to win it all as the team who lost multiple times.
And North Carolina, a lot of people picked them, before this tournament even to win it. So they eliminated Georgia Tech, the number 2, North Carolina, and Georgia, who was the number 3. So damn. Credit
I'm just
OU.
glad they can't say they eliminated us. They can just say they eliminated the team that eliminated us. So that makes it a little.
They can say national champs, and y'all can't, and we can't. We didn't even get there. So they can.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. I don't want to see it become a habit there. I do believe in winning breeds winning. So I saw, Mateer and their star linebacker there, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want these guys to start looking at winning aura kind of to spill over to them. So hopefully
I want our softball winning aura to spill over to because Arch Manning retweeted that softball national championship. I was like, yeah, you next, buddy. Come on.
Thing. I thought the same thing when volleyball won it this year. I was like, hell yeah. And we needed that. That was the day after the Miami loss. So that was kind of like, okay, good. But, no, just going back to what you said real quick, and we'll move on. I think this. Look at Texas last year, losing to UTSA. Look at A&M this year, needing one win and getting beat twice by a red-hot USC team that really choked in Game 3 against North Carolina, or they could have been the team that made a run. You look all over. I mentioned Georgia Tech, UCLA losing to, was it St. Mary? Or who did they? I think St. Mary's they lost to. But there's a million examples, right, of – it wasn't saying whoever it was. There's a million examples, right, of how – in just this tournament this year of the craziness that is the postseason of college baseball. Florida didn't get out of their region. They were in national. It goes on and on. People have to understand how difficult this tournament is.
When baseball is just such a weird game. Like, it is a game of when you get good at the right time. I mean, you can equate it to kind of March Madness in that aspect, but I think teams that are seen as even worse than teams, I don't know. It's like worse teams can win in baseball if they get hot at the right time. Not saying that OU is a worse team at all because they're a very good team, but just like it's just a strange sport.
Ole Miss did it.
It's so much fun to watch.
The year A&M was in there, I talked about when OU went to the final, they lost to an Ole Miss team that was, guess what, 14-16 in the SEC. So it speaks to the greatness.
Never count yourself out if you've done terrible in the regular season.
It speaks to both those teams had a lot of pitching, so you better have pitching.
Make your path a little harder, but
what it is for A&M is this, Amanda. Like, we're 2 years into this thing, and if you watch last year's team and this year's and didn't see a massive improvement and see an arrow going up, you're just too frustrated with the final result, which bit a lot of teams, including several better than A&M this year. And the whole point for Mike Early is to continue this ascent. And I think by hiring Nolan Cain and doing what he did on the pitching side with that hire, that will help that ascent continue. So that's my answer to you. Let's real quickly talk about our favorite conversation the last 3 weeks, and now I think we can finally put it.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, honestly. You have nothing to talk about, and then something like this just pops in, and there's more ridiculousness.
And we finally, I think, can put it to bed after this, right?
We'll see. Who knows? He says he's suing again, so.
So take Brendan Sorsby. NFL said basically, as you wrote it eloquently here, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Like,
we're going to pass on this one.
We're not doing a supplemental draft. They saw through his BS. They literally wrote like, hey, that's leaked out with the
I wanted to read part of his statement.
Why don't you read it? Yeah, read that.
I'm not going to read the whole statement because it is very long, but in the NFL's response, responding to the misconduct, placing wagers on your own team and teammates, and establishing funds in the names of other people who place bets on your behalf. Your petition does not address these matters, nor does it demonstrate accountability for your conduct or indicate whether or how you would adhere to the league's rules and policies governing the integrity of competition. Instead, even after receiving notice of the NCAA's decision rescinding your college eligibility in May, you sought to avoid the consequences of that determination through litigation rather than accepting responsibility for your actions, and you pursued entry into the NFL only after abandoning those efforts. As Commissioner Goodall has emphasized, participation in the NFL is a privilege that carries with it significant responsibilities, including accountability. So basically what we've all been screaming from the horizons as to why this situation is so ridiculous is just the refusal to take accountability for your actions. I understand we want to address the mental health aspect. Gambling is an addiction and it's not to be taken lightly, but at the same time, you have an addiction to, say, alcohol, you get a DUI, you get in a wreck and you hurt somebody, you are required to have accountability for those actions, even if you have an addiction. Yes, Brendan Sorsby didn't hurt anyone here, but we're not playing the game of, oh, well, he didn't hurt anyone like these other people could have. It is still against the rules. It is still against the law. Yep. What he did was against the law. He is lucky he is not facing felony charges. And it's the argument of like, oh, well, he didn't kill anyone, like Cody Campbell said. Like,
that was McGuire that said that. It was ridiculous.
Peak not accepting accountability for your actions.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that they can't have the self-awareness to see what everybody else in this situation sees, especially when it's Texas Tech and the entire football universe against Texas Tech on this.
Yeah.
Just have some self-awareness here.
Self-awareness is apparently right now non-existent in Lubbock. I think at least they're to the point now where they realize they're not going to have him. He won't be in the NFL. Be interesting to see how that works in the draft, 11 or 10 months from now.
What he's going to do in this time period. I mean, at least he doesn't have to live in Lubbock.
10 months from now, where does somebody draft him? I mean, I'm sure it's very late, but the talent's still there. We'll see. I mean, I just think he's permanently stained with that gambling thing. I just don't understand how an NFL club would find it worth. He's not that good to find it worth bringing that guy into a locker room.
Other players' careers have been ruined for worse or for less.
I'm not naive to think that pro athletes don't gamble, that pro coaches don't gamble. Like, I'm not stupid. And anybody that but when you get caught to this level and they investigate you and catch you, it's just like when does the reward override the risk and the red flags with that? I just don't see how a guy that's going to sit out this year, that next April, I mean, somebody's going to bring him on to a camp. I just don't understand someone that would waste an actual draft pick on, or just any, like before in any of the early rounds. So, I mean, ruined his career,
Diego
I think.
Pavia didn't get picked up for his kinds of antics.
True.
And those antics weren't against NCAA rules.
Yep.
I mean, his size obviously played a factor as well, but also you can't say his personality wasn't also something that they were looking at there.
All right. We have an interesting, a really fun topic, I think, for both of us this week is recruiting. And these teams are on fire. The Aggies and Mike Elko ranked number 1 in the country and continuing to trend up. And Steve Sarkisian.
And I would like to put a note right here that I defended the Aggies to a Texas person. So
I saw it.
For all of those that say I can never give credit where it's due, because it was just a ridiculous statement. 1, it's June.
Yeah.
2, why are you yapping about owning the state when one of the schools you're talking down to has 6 5-star commitments and you have 2?
Yeah. No, Texas Tech, again, like, here they are. Oh, my God.
Do they realize that, like, there's other picks outside of the state of Texas that Tech and A&M have picked up?
Wait until they find out on Twitter tonight that you defended them in our hypothetical. They're not going to know what to do because they've been so ready to, like, come at you the last few weeks. This goes all the way back to it was softball, it was the Joey McGuire, there was something even prior to that. Remember,
Thank God I don't work in Amarillo anymore.
I forget what was happening. Oh, it was like during playoff time. They were on you too. So they're going to not know what to do when they see those clips of you kind of defending. I do have a lot of
Tech followers, which is interesting. And I mean, I'm nice to anybody who interacts with me in a respectful manner. And I'm fine with going back and forth with fun conversation. But yeah, this was not one of the nice Tech fans that follows me. It was just.
I've got a good one for you. You should go on. You should go on later with our exchange from the hypothetical and just let hey Tech fans, just in case you guys want to see me actually defend your damn program, here it is. So don't ever say I didn't say anything nice.
Well, there was a comment that didn't think that they didn't interpret it as me defending their program.
I know. They'll watch the whole thing.
And I think it would be a close game between all 3 teams. But I just didn't think your reasoning for thinking A&M would do better.
Yeah, you didn't think I was giving Tech. Yeah, and you didn't think I was giving Tech enough credit. The better point even was that second one where you were saying, how down I was on Tech all season.
I would, if I had the time, I would go back and cut a montage of you saying Tech was overrated last season.
You say if you had the time.
And post that, and then just the cacti in your mentions you'd have to log off Twitter for a couple days.
Well, you'd have to first of all, it would take you like 5 minutes. You just go back to the November, December stretch run. Secondly, you'd have to
I mean, you were making that argument in the preseason.
yeah, you'd have to montage it. You'd have to somehow match it up with what me saying at the end there in 2 weeks ago. Because, yeah, as you said, the two did not fit. Sometimes that happens. Somebody said I need to research more. I was like, she pulled one stat, two stats, run defense and team
those are
interception.
stats you could have pulled because those were your 2 points you were making.
Yeah.
If
fair.
I'm making 2 points, I'm probably going to pull 2 stats to back those points. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you were going to pull said stats, so I thought we were just going to talk about it.
Why would I not pull the stats if we're having the conversation?
I don't know, dude. Let's see what stats you have about this. This week, both teams had a huge 5-star addition on the defensive side of the ball. I found it really fascinating. So one day, Thursday, Texas A&M goes to Tampa, Florida, and adds a much-needed 5-star linebacker in Caden Henderson. And here's the thing, Amanda. It was the highest-ranked linebacker that A&M has landed. Now, they got to get these guys across the finish line. We understand that. It goes without saying. Everybody knows
Texas had one decommit today.
Yeah.
But.
So, 5-star linebacker, highest-rated linebacker they've landed ever. And then the very next day, Friday, Texas goes out, and they land a 5-star corner in John Meredith, who is, oh, by the way, the highest-ranked corner that Texas has ever landed. So, really kind of, I think, encapsulates in a 24-hour span just how incredibly well both these programs are recruiting right now and how hot they both are. Now, I'll let you have, you can take a victory lap here on me because I did ask you, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I think 2 weeks ago, I asked you, are you concerned? It's one of my Ask Amanda questions. How concerned are you about them seeming to be like slower starting? And you answered that. Oh, I think you have the clip for it. You answered 0%. It well, 0%, and went on to explain why. And that's what we've seen. What we've seen happen so far here in the last week, 10 days. Texas has been on fire.
I mean, and even coming up, the reason I haven't posted that clip is because it could even get better for Texas. Because in the coming days, there could be feasibly, there could be a commitment nearly every day in the next 5 days.
Yeah.
And Texas landed one commitment today or yesterday who wasn't supposed to announce until July.
Yeah.
So they did their official visits and appears they're just making their decisions right off the cuff. Texas also added another defensive lineman, Tyler Alexander, and today wide receiver Kyron Brown. This is one where I feel like a lot of people look at him and think like, oh, he wasn't heavily recruited. I think they were competing with Kansas State and like Northwestern or something for this guy. But as a person, he's from Palo Duro, which is in Amarillo, Texas.
Yep.
Panhandle is not a very highly recruited area, very easily overlooked area when it comes to producing talent. And the coach at Palo Duro right now was hired as I was leaving. His name's Eric Mims, and has turned the program around. I think they went from like a 2-something record to a 10-2 record in the course of like a year or two. So just an incredible turnaround from Eric Mims. And then part of that is also players like Kyron, who Texas just landed. Tremendous upside. He's a 3-star, but I think if he was at a school in the DFW or Houston Metroplex, he'd probably be a bit higher. So I think it's a really good ad for Texas as far as just developmental.
You're saying something that I said last week too about some of these. A&M added like 3 of those type guys. For as much as the Aggies and Longhorns, and especially their fans, but also Mike Elko and Steve Sarkisian, as much as we like to go get these 5-stars like they did Thursday and Friday, and A&M, like you said, has 6 of them, and Texas has more than just about anyone on their roster. You have to take and find players like you just talked about. And
diamonds in the rough.
And the Aggies did that. You just have to trust your evaluations, right? And really, you got to find these guys that, A, they have a giant gap between where they are and their ceiling. Sometimes those are the very best you get. And B, you have to find these guys that have a little more of a chip on their shoulder sometimes than some of these most heavily recruited guys. So, and by the way, there's also a salary cap that you're working with. So some of your signees have to be less than 500, 600, 700, $1 million a year. It's just the way of the world. So the Aggies took 3 recently on the defensive side, and by everything I can gather, they freaking love those guys. Said we're going to go get them. It's the same thing with Texas and who you're talking about.
I mean, people like to clown like, oh, 3-star you when teams pick up 3-star players. One of Texas's best players in the past however many years was a walk-on. I don't. Oh, yeah. If you can have good insight and evaluation on what a player could become, then I'm going to trust that it was a good pickup until proven otherwise.
Texas is rolling right now. Where are they at nationally, Amanda? I know.
I think they're around 7 or so. They're fluctuating. There's a lot of arguments. Keep on seeing these arguments of accounts on Twitter going back and forth like, haha, Texas is now ahead of Tech. Oh no, next day, Tech's ahead of Texas. None of this matters. The ratio between 6 and 7 when it comes to rankings like this, it doesn't matter.
No.
Those are basically the same recruiting classes at this point.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't matter because it's June.
Well, in Texas,
it's not over till it's over. It's like bragging that you won the game in the first half. It's like if A&M walked off the field in the first half of the game this year and said, haha, we won. And then look what happened after all 4 quarters.
Yeah, I think unlike that game, I think it's pretty predictable where this is going. Whether A&M finishes 1, 2, 3, 4.
A&M is for sure going to finish in the top 5.
They're going to have a top 5. Texas is probably heading that way as well.
Unless a couple 5-stars flip from A&M, I would have them at number 1 through the end of it.
Well, let's talk real quickly then about the Aggies are sitting at number 1. They've got 10. I say top 61 recruits. That's a weird number to say, but the 10th guy is number 61. So if it would have been 60, so 9 top 60. But they have 10 of the 61 most highly rated recruits in the country committed right now, which is that's a pretty insane statistic. Now, what's coming up for A&M? I think you're looking at. I pulled this up.
Are you going to talk about the 2022 class next?
Well, in a second. But what's coming up for A&M? 5-star offensive lineman Albert Simeon's announcing June 26th here, coming right up. That's probably between the Aggies and LSU, depending on who you talk to. If they do land him, that's 3 5-star O-linemen in one class, which would be phenomenal. Joshua Dobson, the 5-star corner, July 1st. I don't feel great about him. I'm not saying A&M's out, but that's I don't know if it's Michigan up in there right now or LSU. And then Damani Warren. Damani Warren is also June 26th. That's a 4-star receiver out of Nevada that A&M loves and have been recruiting forever. And then 5-star receiver Eric McFarland is June 28th. And I like A&M's chances a lot to end up with both of those guys and really clean up at wideout for the second year in a row. They also recently added Trey Haddad out of St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland. Shout out Patrick Bacon, his alma mater there, my boy up in Cleveland. Hopefully he has a better career than Bacon did. And then Mekhi Allen, really impressive linebacker. If they're able to get him and round out a 3-man linebacker haul, that would be an elite group. And that's July 11th, like where A&M stands with him. So that's kind of what's still on the table for the Aggies. So I feel good about 3 of those 5 players, and one of them kind of either way. If they get the 3 of the 5, like you said, they may have some real staying power there at number 1, regardless of who else they add. Who do you think's next for Texas? Do you have any?
Well, I had on who when we made this doc. I had who was next for Texas, and it was Kyron Brown.
It happened.
Wide receiver from Palo Duro. That has since happened.
You guys are getting a lot of.
My scope was good.
You guys are getting a lot of these crystal balls
Yes. We
lately.
just got an interesting crystal ball today if you want to talk about that one.
Well, I do, because what I was going to say, it's fascinating the lack of John Meredith was a true head-to-head between A&M and Texas. Texas only has a couple of guys that I think really hit A&M when they got them, and the Aggies only have a couple guys that really hit Texas when they got them. There is less overlap, and we've talked about this. I've said this multiple times. There's less overlap than there's ever been in terms, and that's because both schools are doing such a job nationally, and that's the thing. But one of the few remaining head-to-heads really is, I think this is who you were going to mention, is running back Landon Williams-Callis.
Yep.
And so he visited Texas this weekend, A&M, prior to that, and then all of a sudden there's been a little cascade of forecasts favoring the Longhorns. That is a big-time running back. Whoever gets him is going to be really happy.
Do you have any running backs in the class currently?
No, they do not. And he's kind of they had a tech commit in a few weeks ago that will be hard to flip. And then there's Landon Williams-Callis. Otherwise, you might see the Aggies down the road go look around out of state. But right now, they've kind of gone all in with him. So is Texas. I think
most of these crystal balls have come true too. So
when they start, you can kind of tell where the confidence is coming from. So like when they start falling like that, it generally, Amanda, I've done this for so long. It generally means the people in the building at Texas feel really good, and there's enough leaks to people that's starting to. And it generally, you can. It's same thing happens with A&M. You can generally side with that momentum, and you take your chances on being right. It doesn't mean things can't change, but it definitely there's a reason that that's happening, and that means that they're feeling pretty good about that in Austin. They're not just making that up, right? So I'd keep an eye on SMU on this one too, from just talking to people, as weird as it sounds. You remember you talked about Cam Coleman, and you were like, Texas wasn't his highest offer, and we all kind of assume it's Tech. SMU's Texas or A&M are not going to be his highest offer. It's going to be SMU. Just saying that, I would keep an eye on them in this race when normally you don't think of the Ponies as much of a threat to the Aggies or Longhorns.
I mean, when you start to think about the Ponies and the bank accounts the Ponies have behind them, then maybe they could become a threat.
Especially to running backs. There's a history there. No, but anyway, that is the kind of, to me, the last remaining like really significant head-to-head between these two teams.
Once flip season starts, then things will get real interesting, because until things are across the finish line, and I mean, there's a couple flips I would like to see, not necessarily from Texas A&M to Texas, but I'd love to see a couple other flips from certain programs.
And my other thing, to finalize this, I am so tired of hearing, and it's mainly like it feels like it's mainly y'all's fans and LSU generally, but it's kind of splattered throughout the SEC. This whole thing about, fine, Miami did this too, because A&M's crushing it in Florida. The Aggies and Longhorns are crushing it in Georgia. So these fan bases are like, oh, go there and don't develop. A&M just had 10 guys drafted in year 2 of their current coach. Nothing about development prior to that has anything to do with what's going on right now.
To be clear, you don't bury the lead. We're talking about the 2022 class, where
number one class.
Historically, it was the number one class of all time.
Yeah.
And there were 4 remaining players that stayed through.
Yeah.
Everybody else transferred out, which I will say.
Shout out Bryce Anderson. Still here.
Le'Veon Moss was in that class too, right?
Yeah.
Different coaching staff entirely, though I don't know. Did they transfer out before or after Jimbo left? I think
most of them were before. I mean, Noah Thomas was, a lot of them transferred during the transition the couple weeks where you didn't have a head coach.
Yeah, but I mean, and if you look at, because I looked into it, Elko has had much better retention than Jimbo did in the last few years. So looked at more recent classes, and it's only been like a handful of guys that have transferred out, like 3 to 5,
And it's
which
just
is more normal.
It's just such a silly. I understand it's low hanging fruit, but it's such a
It
silly.
is. It's not even that it's low hanging. It's just interesting that even if it was an A&M, that the number one best class of all time by all ranking metrics, none of them, most of them ended up going to other schools, and where they committed, it's unfortunate that A&M gets to be the butt of the joke in this situation, but it is interesting that it is not just the number one class ever at A&M, but the number one class of all time.
And it was that bad. Yeah. And luckily A&M had a first, at least they salvaged one first rounder out of it. But, it'll be interesting to see when the dust fully settles, like guys like Wigman, and just to see like, okay, they're all out of college now. Let's go back and kind of track. It's going to be a fun exercise to talk about. But either way, it's going to be.
What if they had stayed around?
So here's my thing. It's such low hanging fruit, and so I get it. I get like simpletons using it, but it is the dumbest argument to try to say, or the dumbest critique when Mike Elko and his staff are recruiting at a lights out level. It's almost like they're insinuating, like it doesn't matter because you had the number one class 5 years ago under a different coach, and look what happened. And so like, okay, you're right. We shouldn't recruit at a high level. We should not strive to be the best recruiting class in the country because we did it one time.
A&M fans would be doing the exact same thing to Texas if they had this number one class and all of them ended up leaving. Amanda, they would be doing the exact same thing.
Amanda, you're right.
And you might be doing the same thing.
I probably, you're once again.
You might probably be doing it at least once, and then maybe creep away from the low-hanging fruit. But I could even imagine the tweet that you would put out if it was Texas.
You're not wrong. You're actually freaking.
So are you a simpleton like you blame these other people of being? You just called them simpletons and then said
I have a name for you if I'm a simpleton, but I haven't thought of it yet. I'm trying to think of a good one that won't get me like too much in your doghouse. But I will say,
I'm far from simple.
No, I know but you're right. You are right. I would do that, but I would do that. Yeah, I would, but it would still be wrong. It would still be stupid to say.
I mean, you have done a lot of wrong and stupid things in your life, so just be adding it to the list.
Some would say one of them is agreeing to do this show for this exact freaking reason of what's happening right now.
We all do wrong and stupid things in our life, and it's just learning from our mistakes.
Have I learned? Do you think I've learned in 50 shows?
Sometimes I do, and then sometimes you put something out there that, like, have we learned anything?
Yeah. I think a little bit. We'll split the difference and
Sometimes
say
you're having an off day.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I revert back to the old ways, right? Sometimes you haven't
blocked me yet though, so
I don't think you could get me. I don't know how you'd get me to block you. It would just have to be you'd like wake up one day and just say like I'm just gonna see if I can make it.
Violence.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just like took the day off of work and just said I'm gonna have a fun little experiment.
I mean, if we win a national championship in football, every Aggie that partially enjoys me on this podcast might just want to mute me for the next.
I might, depending on how Thanksgiving goes, I might like block you through like a weekend or something. Could do that. You
can mute me, and that probably gets the job done.
I think the message would be a block though, of like, hey, I don't even want to hear it. That's it. Period. I'll let you know when you're back, when the dust is settled. But all right, let's talk a little football.
All right, y'all, if you're looking for a clean energy boost on game day or honestly any day, check out Catalyst Pure Performance Energy. This stuff is built for people who want energy without the junk. We're talking zero sugar, no artificial colors or flavors, no preservatives, and no artificial sweeteners. Catalyst gives you a steady, non-jittery stream of energy thanks to natural nootropics and the same caffeine as a cup of coffee, so you get focus and endurance without the crash. And the flavors, super berry, pomegranate power, orange dream, citrus spark, cherry cranberry, lime charge, and grapefruit. All refreshing, never syrupy. So if you want to fuel your workouts, your late night study sessions, or your Saturday tailgates, grab Catalyst Pure Performance Energy at a store near you or on drinkcatalyst.com. Ignite your performance.
We'll do this real quick, Amanda. Josh Pate's top 10, not 1 to 16. John Summerall at 10, new coach, Florida. Josh Heupel, Tennessee, 9. Brent Venables, 8. Interesting, coming off of a playoff berth.
Yeah, I think that's too low.
Here's an interesting one. Because
and I've been critical of Brent.
Because he's got Eli Drinkwitz at 7.
Yeah.
Clark Lee at 6.
Still don't like that. Still think Brent Venables would be higher on my list.
Would you care to try to guess the top 5?
I know the top 5. I'm looking at them. You messed up to me.
Okay, Lane Kiffin at 5. Mike Elko 4. Steve Sarkisian 3. Kalen DeBoer 2. Kirby Smart 1. Is there anything in there, you just mentioned one of them, outside of Venables, maybe being a couple spots lower than he should be? I tend to agree with you there. Actually, though, when I look at that, I might only move him up 1. I would move him ahead of Drink. I understand that Drink's done a good job at Missouri. I would probably move Venables up 1, almost maybe based on momentum as much as anything else. But Clark Lee, man, I know, like what Clark Lee's done at Vandy in 2 years, like if you look at the teams he's beaten as the Vanderbilt head coach and to lead them to a 10-win season
done a
last
lot
year.
With not much.
Yeah, so I understand that. I might only move Brent up 1. Is there anything on there, particularly, I guess, in that top 5 that you would move around, let's say?
Honestly, the only ones I would swap, and I feel like I can see the argument for why Kalen DeBoer is above Sark. Mm-hmm. I would almost have them tied because I feel like they've done pretty much the same. And the argument for Pate with this was that DeBoer had beat Sark twice. Yep. But I don't think you can really compare that to where we're at now as much, because when DeBoer beat Sark, it's a different program. It was Sark starting out in the beginning of his tenure at Texas, and then now Sark in the SEC. It's a different picture. Would Sark beat Alabama the past 2 years? We don't know. But Sark has won 2 playoff games. DeBoer has won how many one or 2?
Well, 2. 1 against Sark, and then this year at Alabama they beat OU and Norman.
Well, I'm talking about playoff games while in the SEC.
Okay, yeah, 1.
As the coach at Alabama, I'm looking at these as a coach at their current SEC program and as a coach in SEC football, which maybe that's probably not what Pate was looking at.
No, I think he's just ranking like.
I'd put them on an even field as far as just in SEC play. We'd have to see them up against each other again. But also, I'm just looking at the recruiting and just everything around Alabama right now. They're not winning in a lot of those recruiting battles, transfer portal battles.
People are concerned.
And I think Bama fans are right to be a little bit concerned because it's not the same. It's not what you saw with Saban, and nobody can replace Saban, but the energy isn't going towards Alabama anymore.
All right. Here's my thought.
But those are the only real things I would change. I like where Elko's at. Yep. I like him at 4. I don't think Kiffin's proven at a head coach as a head coach at LSU, brand new school. He did good at Ole Miss, but he never won while he was a head coach in the playoffs because he was out of there before the playoffs.
Well,
so you can't give him those wins.
And he had an epic fail the year before when they went all in and they couldn't get into a 12-team playoff because they lost to Kentucky and a bad Florida team. So, I mean, I like him at 5. Elko at 4 and Sark at 3 is an interesting one because it's hard to really make the argument with Elko having only been a head coach here for 2 years and then 2 years at Duke. So it's such a small sample size.
Well, Elko made the playoffs 1 year. Sark made the playoffs 1 year. Sark beat him both years.
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah.
So I think you can put Sark above Elko, and it's not downplaying what Elko's done.
No, I don't think it's a down. I think, though, if you're just kind of like doing this whole who would you want coaching your team for the next 5 years thing, that changes kind of you can debate and discuss those type things, especially when it comes to Sark and Elko. It'd go beyond like, oh, he's beat him in 2 games head to head. We could go on a deeper.
Well, you don't know if Elko maintains the 11-win type season yet.
I'm
he
just
hasn't
saying,
gotten the opportunity to prove himself on that playing field, so I can't prop him up as being better. Sark has proven that he can win 3 seasons straight, 10-plus games.
Yeah.
And, he has proven that thus far. Elko has the opportunity to prove that. Hasn't done it yet. I'm confident that he likely will, but as of this time, I'm putting Sark above Elko for those reasons.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're saying like top rank the coaches today, you're going off resume, you're going off like where they're at today. I wouldn't argue with that top 5. I was saying if you were doing like, hey, rank them who you have the next 5 years, we could probably, me and you.
That's not what this ranking was.
I know, but I'm saying if you did, we could go deeper down as to why I would say Elko over Sark. But since we're not. I
just don't know how Elko's proven himself, as he hasn't won SEC championships at previous programs.
We don't need to do it.
He hasn't won national championships at previous roles. Steve Sarkisian has.
We don't need to go like on a deep dive like spontaneously right now. Like I didn't mean like we would actually do it. I just meant. So yeah, you're right. Is that it? You were going to say he hasn't won a national championship. He hasn't.
I mean, if you're talking about if you're wanting to base his potential future success off of how successful he was at previous roles, you can't discredit what Sark did at Alabama as an offensive coordinator, considering he is currently operating as offensive coordinator for Texas.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean like for us to actually go down it right now.
I mean, you put in the hypothetical, so that's just my argument.
I didn't want to like
move on.
I wasn't ready to debate the Elko Sark like over the next 5 years. Yeah, I didn't mean for you to actually do it. So I would need to research that a little. But I think what I would probably start by saying is just like trajectory of his program.
You need to learn from your lessons with Jimbo on this, where you got a little ahead of yourself when you saw things trending in the right direction. Wait until the success is duplicated.
I would say
until the success is duplicated, then start talking.
I'm just saying I'm going off of like trajectory and where it's going today.
What was Texas's trajectory at the end of the season, and what was A&M's trajectory at the end of the season? If you want to talk about trajectory from immediate end of season, like from the last we saw of both of these coaches and both of these teams.
I mean, I would say that A&M played Miami. Texas played a Michigan team without a head coach.
A&M played Texas, and they lost. They didn't look like the same team that they have been all season against Texas's defense.
All right. Let's okay, so can I change the subject, or do you want to keep doing this?
We can go into the next one of this take from this person on Twitter, which I thought was an interesting take.
So let me make one comment about Kalen DeBoer too before we move on. I agree with that ranking today. Kalen DeBoer took Washington to the national title game. He has struggled in the toughest adjustment that a coach could ever have is taking over for Nick Saban at Alabama. And he got them to a playoff game last year and the SEC title game. He beat Georgia two times in a row before losing to them in the SEC title game this year. And he won a playoff game. So, but here's what I think. I like him there right now. He would be my number 2, Amanda, right ahead of Sark, okay? I just don't even want... Okay. I'm frustrated. As you can tell, I'm frustrated. Now, here's the thing. I think when the season's over, how I think this season's going to go, I think in whichever order if Josh Pate or you or me or anyone else did these rankings, I think the burnt orange Bevo and the maroon and white ATM would move up, and they will be in the 2 and 3 spots. I think both those coaches in most people's rankings will move them ahead of Kalen DeBoer. Because I think
that. I haven't seen Alabama's schedule for the season.
I just think they struggle. Okay, what's the other topic?
I don't think they got as much in the offseason to reload as far as A&M and Texas got.
What's the other topic?
You're honking. It's because I think Japan is staying at the hotel next to
nice.
So they have been closing down my street. The Austria was here a couple days ago, and
love it.
We had the check before that, so it's been a lot of activity on my street.
That's fun.
Okay, so tweet from this person on Twitter.
Okay.
Obviously. Texas A&M loses both of its coordinators and the majority of its offensive and defensive lines and plays a much tougher schedule than it did last season. I have no idea how this team can be ranked inside the top 10. I'm going to do my take first.
Okay.
I think this was a good tweet until the last sentence, because I think I have no idea how this team can be ranked inside the top 10. Just completely takes out the context of the other teams you are comparing A&M to.
Amen.
It takes out the context of that other teams around A&M that you are ranking them around also lost a lot in the offseason and reloaded differently. It discredits what A&M reloaded within the transfer portal and in recruiting. And yes, the offensive and defensive coordinators are currently question marks, but that's the thing. They're question marks.
Yeah.
They could go one of either way. At the same time, all these other teams around A&M also have question marks. They might be different question marks, but to say you automatically place them out of the top 10 for that reason just doesn't sit right with me. I think it's fair, and I've said I would have them between 5 and 10. I wouldn't have them out of the top 10. I mean, I think you said you wouldn't be mad if they were at 11 or something like that. But I would put them at least that 8 to 9 range.
I think you nailed it. I don't have a lot to add to that other than to say that was exactly what I was thinking. Like, hey, buddy, I know I'm
going to look at the preseason rankings while you talk just to see who we're comparing A&M to.
I know the roadblocks and hurdles to A&M getting back, and one of them is certainly the schedule. We've talked a lot about that. We've also said you just don't know until you play it, and we've also talked about the offensive line and changing coordinators. Holman Wiggins has not called a play one in his career. Mike Elko certainly thinks he's going to be good at it, or he would have gone on and got somebody around the country, because Lord knows money wasn't a topic. Read me some of those other teams around them.
The two, I'm looking at ESPN's right now, and the two, so they have A&M at 9.
Yeah.
They have the two teams at 8 and 10. Both have brand new head coaches.
Who?
Ole Miss, LSU.
Wow.
Ole Miss State, LSU at 10.
What about 11 and 7?
11, okay, 7 is Miami.
Okay.
And then 11 is Tech.
Okay. And Tech lost like a ton, including they really have a one-legged quarterback that played in a few games last year. Who's at 6?
Indiana.
Okay, who lost the Heisman winner and most of their team. Like, I think there's a lot, like every one of those teams you mentioned, maybe not Miami. They lost a lot, but I
mean, they don't have Carson Beck and
they have Darian Mensah though. Mensah might be as good or better, but my point
they
is
lost 2 wide receivers and then a good bit on defense.
But they're loaded. And I think, look, A&M, if you're going to do that, you have to look at the teams directly in front of and directly behind and put that same microscope on those teams, because what this guy is not talking about, Amanda, that you and I have quite a bit, is what A&M's bringing back and what A&M's done in the portal. And then you take that and you compare that to the teams around A&M, and I think they're in a perfectly fine space if someone wants to rank them between 7 and 11 to start the season. I've looked at all these other teams, and I think that's a fair range. I think moving them up much higher than that is probably a little much because of what they lost and because of some of the unknowns in the schedule. I think moving them much lower than that would be silly as well because they do, man. They bring back a lot. They believe. Man, I would recommend anybody watching some of it when we put it out. I had lunch yesterday. We went to the Republic Steakhouse. We did a private lunch. It was me and the 5 A&M captains. That's Marcel Reed. That's tight end Michael Riley, veteran tight end. That's linebacker Damian Sanford, DB Dalton Brooks, who you're familiar with, and then and safety Marcus Ratcliffe. Sat down with those 5 guys. It really, if you're an Aggie fan, you're going to watch that and you're going to go, damn, man, like this thing's in good hands. Not just
I think
with them.
The thing is, I think most teams who watch their captains, they're going to think vibes are high.
No,
vibes aside, my point. Vibes aside, this tweet is not about vibes.
It is. It is though. It's about.
It's not about vibes.
It's someone that doesn't know enough about A&M.
He saw the facts. He lost they lost 2 coordinators, and they have a tougher schedule. Those are the only things they looked at. They didn't look at any content as far as other facts and who they bring back, who other teams. So aside from vibes on the team, everybody's happy. They love the
Amanda,
team.
I'm
doing agreeing with you here. I'm just saying,
but
looking at that
let me finish the point. I've watched this team, the last team, the team before that, the team before that, the team before that, like coach. And I'm just telling you to tell like this guy, and when I see these rankings, it's not about vibes. It's just about listening to a certain level. And you hear this when you've covered high school teams. You see it with them too.
We were at the Republic Steakhouse having all this fun, so lead with the vibes. Lead with what the conversation was about
I
first.
never said, like, the way you just did that completely misrepresented. What I'm saying is people should watch this for the reason of if you don't sense like a degree of like maturity and understanding, and they had some really and just kind of perspective of like, we got to the playoffs this year and this is what we did great and here's where we failed. And to hear them talk about that Texas game, I think both fan bases would be really interested to kind of hear their take on that. One of them said, hey, like, let me just be real honest, and it'll come out in the thing. He's like, we haven't won anything. We went to the playoffs. We don't have a ring. We don't have a conference title appearance. We don't have a conference championship. We don't have a playoff win. So nothing about what we did in our minds is good enough. We haven't beaten Texas. And then one of them said, yeah, they kept us out of the SEC title game twice. That's our rival. So it was just interesting to hear.
Oh, I completely forgot that our game kept them out of the title game
I'm
this
sure
year.
You forgot.
I really did. Because how did that happen, though? Was Alabama?
I think there was a 4-way tie. Am I right? There was a 4-way tie at 7-1. A&M, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss. So A&M and Ole, because Alabama went 10-2, they lost to Florida State, but Georgia, A&M, Ole Miss all went 11-1. But Bama was also 7-1 in the SEC. So I don't know if that's ever happened. Actually, it was a 4-way tie.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So anyway,
that's unfortunate for A&M in like their best year.
Yeah.
Only one SEC loss.
You got to handle business, man. You got to handle business. They also could have got in last year as a 3-loss team if they would have beat Texas. Because they would have lost to Auburn, South Carolina, and Notre Dame. So they had their chance to kind of backdoor their way the year before. So I don't feel bad for them. They need to be better, and I think they know that. But, yeah, I think we're on the same page in that where we kind of think they should be ranked going into this season.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, all that kerfluffle that just happened to say, we basically agree here.
I know. I don't know what you thought I was trying to say with that.
The way you started that, it sounded like you were trying to start an ESPN 30 for 30 about the vibes of how
I want people to watch my content that I think's really good, like not because of me, but
video, guys.
Yeah,
it's a great.
Exactly.
Actually, I'm tempted to go watch it. I would like to hear what they like to say.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you the Cliff Notes version, so you don't have to watch it for 2 hours. But
it's 2 hours long?
no, we'll edit it. But I mean, we sat there for 2 hours, and we're going to turn that into one content
if it was
piece.
30 minutes, I'd put it on 1.5 speed and watch the whole thing.
We probably would. That's probably about what it'll be.
Attention span for you.
I know. I'm with you. That's the world's attention span.
1.5 speed. That's what gets me through.
All right, let's real quickly ask Billy, ask Amanda, just some quick ones. This was a fun thing that I saw Ari Wasserman do this week with, he did it with my man Andy Staples.
My best friend, Ari Wasserman.
Another one of your Twitter battles, that's right.
I mean, I don't dislike Ari. He just misinterpreted something I said.
Ari's
that's
good
okay.
people. He's one of your fellow Dallas natives. So anyway, here we go. They did this, and for the Big Ten, I'm imagining they're going to go through all the conferences, but I wanted to ask you this if you were answering this question. Best bets, serious contenders, and a dark horse in the SEC playoff race for this year. So who are your best, tier them, best bets, serious contenders, and a dark horse. And you can do however many numbers you want with this.
Okay, I'm going, however many numbers I want.
Yeah.
For best bets, I'm going Georgia, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go ahead and put in Texas because Texas is playoff or bust.
I agree with you.
Best bets, I don't want to overload the best bets category, but a lot of these are kind of,
Mine kind of stops there.
Well, I think the SEC should have more than 2 teams in the playoffs, which is a thing. So my next 2 would be A&M, and I meant to look at the Alabama schedule. Probably Oklahoma, honestly.
I think we're on the same page right now.
And then from there, I completely forgot LSU existed. Serious contender, I would also put in LSU and Alabama and Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And then from there, dark horse. Mm-hmm. I feel like I know who your dark horse is.
Oh.
South Carolina. I feel like you said that last week.
You know what? I don't
know about playoffs, but I think they'll be better than what people expect.
Give me a second here, and I'll say this. I agree with everything you just said. The best bets are probably Texas and Georgia. They'll probably be 2 of the top preseason top 5 or 6. I think and maybe even higher. I think the serious contenders at the top of my list are A&M and OU. I think then I would have. I think Ole Miss I would have in there because of Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey. I think after that I would probably go Alabama. Now I'm cutting. So my dark horse would be in year 1, Lane Kiffin and LSU.
You think, but I feel like that's a team everybody's expecting.
But I don't see I don't expect, like, to me that would somewhat surprise me if they went like 10-2 and got in year 1. Now.
Yeah, I kind of need to see it to believe it with LSU. I need to see that Kiffin can put all the pieces together in year 1.
South Carolina scares me as an individual game, but I don't think Shane Beamer can have that team with the level of consistency to make a playoff run. I just don't see them getting to 9-10 wins, much less even probably 9. And notice we left out Tennessee.
I would say Tennessee would be my dark horse.
Okay.
As far as potential, because I mean, a lot of these other teams, I could see them improving year over year and being happy with how their season ends.
Yeah.
But making a 12-team playoff, I just don't see as a possibility, even as a dark horse. Tennessee, I could see that more with.
Okay, here's a fun one. 50 episodes into this, what have you learned from the show? Just in general, could be anything. Could be about you, me, the rivalry, doing a weekly, like, what have you learned from it?
That not all Aggies hate me.
That is true. That is fair.
I have learned that some fans of rival fan bases, and I feel like I knew this before this, but this just kind of solidified this for me. Some of them you're never going to be able to convince otherwise.
Yeah.
Just because, and I could not even be into sports. The second I tell them I went to Texas, they're not going to like me. And that's okay. That's not the kind of person this show is for. This show is for the people who are here for the fun conversation from either side, who like the back and forths, who can have friends that go to different schools, which it's wild to me. And most of it's you old men, not you.
Yeah.
Older men.
I thank you for not meing that one.
Not you. Older men than you who cannot, like, I just wonder if they interact with a Longhorn in the wild, like just a person they meet that went to UT, or are they just automatically a bad person to them? Because that's how it seems.
Yes, some of them are like that.
Like, I have a bridesmaid that went to A&M. So we did go to Centenary together, and we both transferred. But one of my bridesmaids will be an Aggie. So it's just strange to me that, like, these people out there exist that just really cannot comprehend having friendships from people of other schools and being able to have fun conversation about things without taking it to a different level.
A lot of them enjoy it.
There has been more good than bad.
You've won a lot over, too. They've come to figure out, like, just even like 10 minutes ago, our crap talking and how it's like
the kerfluffle.
Yeah, they enjoy some kerfluffles. They enjoy the banter. If you knew how many people come up to me from both fan bases, like friends from a long time. I saw a friend recently I hadn't seen in a couple years. He was in town with his son for Marcel's football camp. And he said, "Man, I really like that podcast y'all do." And I didn't even know he watched it. He was like, I started popping up on my feed. I started watching it. He's like, I watch it every week now. And they were like, I like that Amanda girl.
We appreciate you people. Share it with your friends. We'd love to have more of you.
They like that you give me hell and then I battle back. It's fun. And like you said, if you can't see that, then I think we have a lot of the arguments and debates and conversations that a lot of people are just having in their group chats or their texts or over lunch or at the office anyway. And I think we replicate a lot of that, honestly. So with that said, what are your questions?
Yeah, it's the argument that you have at the Thanksgiving table with the uncle that went to the school that you don't agree with, though. Yeah. My uncle went to Baylor. So unfortunately, he doesn't have much to talk about recently.
No. What are your questions this week before we wrap it up?
So my question is it's actually a more fun hypothetical this week, not a bad hypothetical. Assemble your dream coaching team from other SEC coaches. So we're only doing head coach, OC, and DC, and none of them can be from the same school. Okay.
I'll go Kirby.
I feel like that's automatic.
Yeah. OC.
And you can pick, so like say you want Sark as your OC. You can do that if you want to.
I don't. Because I don't like his
red. I'm just saying, if you want a head coach,
I'm kidding, but I don't like his red zone. So I'm going to go at OC. I'm actually going to go Charlie Weiss Jr. I love a mobile quarterback. I love what he did with Trinidad Chambliss. I love that he's kind of like a more reined-in version of Lane Kiffin. And he did call plays for Ole Miss last year in Oxford. So I'm going to go. I'll go Charlie Weiss Jr. there, and then. D coordinator. Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not gonna. I think. You know who I'd go with? You said I could do this. I'd actually go Brent Venables. And here's what I'm going to say.
I don't hate that.
I think he's a better D coordinator than he is a head coach, and I think time's going to prove that out. I would go Brent Venables and have him running the defense. Good question. Fun question there. I like that. Do you want to answer it?
Ooh, I didn't even think about it for myself, honestly. Head coach is obviously Kirby Smart. Mm-hmm. I would want to put Steve Sarkisian as my offensive coordinator.
But you can't.
I can't. Dang, now you say DC is Brent Venables, and I want that too. I would need to do more preparation on this. I need to do more research.
Okay. What's your second question?
Second question is same as your second question. So 50 episodes in, what have you learned?
I've learned that you're running out of bookmarks. So I've settled down on that front.
No, I've created many more.
No, I mean from me. From me.
I don't know. I think I have a couple of from
I'm sure you do, but I've been... No, speaking
You
of.
have learned not to create bookmark material.
Yes, and I'll tell you this. And since we started, it's helped that A&M had such a great season, minus the, head-to-head result that caught me and, caused me some grief. But I will say this, to credit you, what I've learned is the bookmark thing. Like, when we started, I was like, once the season starts, you kind of run out of that. And I thought if A&M won, if you'd have told me that A&M was going to have a better season than Texas, I would have thought that this show might be kind of one-sided. But I would learn that I probably underestimated you when it comes to the debating. I know on Twitter you can do it. It's different when you can sit there and write and think, but the real time, like, that's something that I'm. You said it before. We sit on TexAgs all day and talk. We're all A&M friendly over here talking on our conversation. So it was a little more of a adjustment period for me than I expected in these little battles. Let's put it that way. That's what I've learned.
There you go.
You're formidable on this front.
I mean, I don't know how you would have thought otherwise. I don't sign up for things I can't do well at.
Yeah, I think
Can't be successful at.
You probably knew that, and I didn't. So maybe
I just thought it was a fun idea, and it has been a fun idea. 50 shows in.
Been a very fun idea. Do you have any moving goalposts this week?
I mean, the Brendan Sorsby situation is just adding more and more for us.
Oh my God, it's nonstop. I mean, you can't keep up. I still think you should go do that with the Tech fans tonight and get them going. It would be funny to actually be the one that they are lining up behind for once. They won't know what to do with themselves.
I don't know. They misinterpret everything I post.
It'd be a good. So
I have a Texas grad in my bio, so they're like, this has to be against us in some way.
It's a good social experiment. How blinded by hatred can a fan base be that they can't even see a compliment right in front of their eyes? But
I mean, I will say in the football offseason, I've been very pleasantly surprised with OU fans.
Yeah.
Most of them have been very, very nice. Maybe that's because we've beaten them 3 out of the 4 last years.
God, that better not be the case over here. I need the Aggies to win. But yeah, anyway,
it wasn't 3 years straight, so you at least have that much.
So there's your compliment for the week. You got it. We had a nice little kerfluffle this week, so that was unexpected. I thought we were going to have a nice little peaceful show, but somehow the head coaching rankings got us. But anyway, good episode, 50 down. Hopefully, these next 50 somehow have us both talking about playoff teams this year. Let's wait and see. Because baseball's over, Amanda. I know the World Cup's going on, but it is officially countdown to football season.
The dark period.
There you go.
Vacation time.
We do have one more. Don't we have one more this week, and then we go every other week?
Yeah, we got one more in June, and then in July we'll see you twice, and then we'll be back at it in August.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Amanda. I'm Billy.
I'm Amanda.
And we are
moving some goalposts. See y'all next week.